All right, good evening. Let's come to order and go on the record, please. I'm Charlotte Mitchell, Chair of the North Carolina Utilities Commission. And with me this evening by remote connection are Commissioners Daniel G. Clodfelter, Kimberly W. Duffley, and Karen M. Kimmerite. I now call for hearing docket number W-354 sub 412 in the matter of application for approval of business combination between Carolina Water Service Incorporated of North Carolina, Corix Infrastructure US Incorporated, and SW Merger Acquisition Corp. Before we proceed any further, and as required by the State Government Ethics Act, I remind members of the Commission of our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and inquire at this time as to whether any member of the Commission has a known conflict with respect to matters coming before us in this docket. All right, the record will reflect no conflicts have been identified, so we will proceed. On November 23rd, 2022, Carolina Water Service Incorporated of North Carolina, to which I will refer to as CWSNC, Corix Infrastructure US Incorporated, or Corix, and SW Merger Acquisition Corp., collectively the applicants, filed with the Commission an application for the approval of a business combination. Filed with the application were the direct testimonies of Donald H. Denton, Ellen Lapson, Dante DeStefano, and Brian Barr. SWMAC and Corix request the Commission to authorize a merger between the two entities. The application provides the proposed merger between SWMAC and Corix does not involve a change in the direct control of CWSNC and does not involve a transfer of CWSNC stock. The combination will have no impact on the Commission's continuing regulation of CWSNC as a regulated water and wastewater utility in North Carolina. Assuming the combination is approved, CWSNC would remain subject to the jurisdiction of the Commission pursuant to North Carolina Public Utilities Act and the Commission's rules and regulations. The rates currently charged by CWSNC were approved in docket number 354 sub 384 on April 4th, 2022. No rate changes are proposed in this docket. On April 12th, 2023, the public staff filed with the Commission a recommendation that the matter be scheduled for both a public witness hearing and an expert witness hearing. On April 25th, 2023, the Commission issued an order scheduling hearings, establishing discovery guidelines, and requiring customer notice. The order scheduled a public witness hearing to be held remotely by way of WebEx on this date, as well as an expert witness hearing to begin on August 2nd, 2023 in Raleigh. The order established a procedure for individuals to register to participate in the public hearing. That brings us to tonight. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to hear from CWSNC's customers regarding their concerns with a pending application. Each public witness that has registered in advance, in accordance with the instructions in the Commission's order, will be given the opportunity to testify under oath should he or she wish to do so. The intervention and participation of the public staff in this proceeding is recognized pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, Section 62-15D, and Commission Rule R1-19E. The public staff, which represents CWSNC's customers, will assist you all with your testimony tonight. In addition, the public staff has conducted an independent investigation of the application, and on June 30th, 2023, filed the joint direct testimony of Lynn Fiesel, June Chu, Lindsay Darden, and John Hinton, which sets forth the public staff's recommendations for Commission action on the application. The applicants filed rebuttal testimony in this docket on July 14th. You may view this testimony on our website, which is ncuc.net, by navigating to the docket and accessing the documents filed in that docket. In order to facilitate a full and fair opportunity for all speakers to participate tonight, we'll use the following procedures. In conducting this hearing, the Commission functions in a judicial capacity, as we are required to do under North Carolina law. We largely follow the North Carolina Rules of Civil Procedure and Rules of Evidence. Because the Commission functions as a court, we cannot respond to questions from customers tonight. Rather, we're here to receive evidence from you in the form of your testimony. In addition, for these reasons, if you choose to testify, you'll be asked to affirm to the truthfulness of your testimony before you give it. Public witnesses will appear by audio connection only. Commissioners and attorneys will be appearing by video and audio connection. Any public witness that wishes to view live video of the proceeding may access it on your computer by way of YouTube, which is linked from the Commission's homepage. However, if you do this, please be sure to mute your computer when you're called on, testify to avoid feedback and interference with our court reporter's ability to transcribe this proceeding. In order to allow each person an equal amount of time to participate, there will be a limit of 3 minutes per person to provide testimony. Public witnesses will be called on to testify in the order that they have called in. When it is your turn to speak, the WebEx administrator will send you a request to unmute your line. You'll hear the following message. You're being asked to unmute yourself. To unmute, press *6. It's important that you listen for this message, and once you unmute yourself, please state your name to signify that you've unmuted. At that time, we will begin the process of your provision of testimony. I will ask you to provide an affirmation as to the truthfulness of your testimony, and once you've done that, you may begin. The attorneys for the public staff will ask you a series of questions prior to your testimony as well. To ensure that the hearing tonight runs efficiently, please pay close attention to the course of the hearing and be ready to respond as soon as you hear the message requesting that you unmute. Counsel for any party may ask questions of the witnesses testifying tonight. In addition, the commission will have the opportunity to ask questions. This means that if you do choose to provide testimony, you may be asked questions by attorneys or by the commissioners. However, just as a reminder, the commissioners and the attorneys for the parties tonight may not respond to your questions, but rather we're here to listen to you. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and get started, and I will call upon counsel for the applicant to announce their appearances for the record. All right, who wants to go first?
Thank you, Chair Mitchell. This is Joanne Sanford, representing Carolina Water Service, Inc. of North Carolina. With me on the line is Mary Lynn Gregg of McGuire Wood, representing Southwest Water Company. We also have Dante DeStefano from Carolina Water Service, who is on the line from the applicant. We have a number of employees of both Carolina Water and Southwest who are watching this proceeding on the line tonight. Included in those ranks are a number of our field personnel who would like to be available to assist any of the speakers tonight after the hearing. It would be not tonight, but at a later date, if there are specific problems with customer concerns. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Sanford, and good evening to you and Ms. Gregg and Mr. DeStefano. All right, public staff.
Good evening, Elizabeth Culpepper with the public staff, appearing on behalf of the using and consuming public. Also appearing with me is James Bernier Jr. and present is Lindsay Darden, an engineer in our public staff's water, sewer, and telephone division.
All right. Good evening, Ms. Culpepper, Mr. Bernier, and Ms. Darden. All right. Any preliminary matters from council before we hear from our first witness?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. With that, Mr. Warren, would you please unmute our first witness?
Is that call for Vincent Roy?
All right.
Hello?
Mr. Roy, is this Vincent Roy?
This is he. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good evening. If you would, sir, do you affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Ms. Culpepper, you may proceed.
Mr. Roy, please state your full name.
Vincent P. Roy,
And your address.
237 Lakeview Drive in Carolina Trace, which is a community of about 700 houses and 4,000 people. And I've been representing them in this capacity as the utilities representative for 16 years.
What service do you have from Carolina Water?
We have
Your water?
we
Sorry.
receive water, which is a product from Sanford that is a pass-through for Carolina Water Service, and also we have 2 waste treatment plants here on the property for sewage.
Please proceed with your statement.
Based on my previous, the 16 years that I've been doing work pro bono for the residents here. I'd like to say that right off the beginning that we have very good success in operation with the local Carolina Water Service people, especially when we have emergencies, water line breaks, you name it. And so we have no argument with them per se, but I did want, in reading all the documentation, I did want to make a few comments. For example, there's a recommendation in the documentation that the Corix and the NUCO will meet perhaps once a year with the public staff. Knowing that the public staff are our advocates as consumers, they will be meeting with the public staff much more than once a year, but to discuss what the public staff is finding, I would think that they should get together more than once a year. Secondly, the Carolina Water Service daily operation versus Corix and NUCO and their relationship with the financial sponsors. It appears to me that there is, looking at some of the charts in the book, when you look at the financial sponsors leading down to Corix and NUCO, and showing their percentages of financial input, I presume that's what the percentages refer to, that there's too much of an opportunity, in my estimation, for the sponsorship with their financial power to get too much authority in running the operation, which ultimately comes on the Carolina Water Service supporting the residents of the community. The reflection that I relate to is the recent notification of the ESG program, Environment, Social, and Government, that we're seeing being done by Vanguard, BlackRock, and even State, where they are putting people in boards of direction to make sure that those boards of directors are doing things that are more beneficial to ESG. And I would not like to see the financial sponsors with their financial power insinuating themselves on the board of directors for Corix or NUCO. Thirdly, I pray that the operational staff at the customer level is not changed with all the changes I see in the black and white documents I've been reading. As I said earlier, the customer and the work staff relationships are healthy from the point of view of getting work done, with residents pitching in to help during off-duty hour breaks. For example, the work staff here at Carolina Trace works 5 days a week from 8 to 5, and the breaks that occur at night or on weekends are going through the headquarters are handled typically by a staff from down in the Pinehurst area. But at the same time, we have the residents actively participating in traffic control and helping with any tools or equipment that may be needed on the spot. As I look at the current operational profile for Carolina Water Service on their 3-year plan, the commissioners have not been able to come to grips with that plan and their hearings. Consequently, the profit goal of 10.7% is being met in a very strange manner, and I won't go into detail on that. But at these times, as a digressive note, in these times of high inflation that we're experiencing in this country, it's got to have a complicating input regarding trying to plan ahead on improvements versus repair, which is always a public staff notification, because there seems to be some misdirection on the Carolina Water Service when they make a repair that they claim it's an improvement, which is fundable, and repairs are not. Overall, I've taken more than my 3 minutes, but I do want to say that as I look at the closing arguments in the document I have dated 14 July, it appears that that money and power have a potential to prevail. Having been in the Air Force for 26 years and as a colonel, and seeing the power that can be emitted from above, and also as in private industry, with a $1 billion operation out of Washington, D.C., and working all international work in Egypt and Saudi Arabia, especially money prevails when I'm in foreign countries, recognizing their disdain for the rules and regulations. So, in closing, I would remind everybody that we still have Chapter 62, which is our set of rules and regulations, and I think any effort from the financial sponsors to do any changes must be considered as looking at for any possible impact that Chapter 62 may have on that. That's all I wish to provide at the present time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Roy, for your comments tonight. Let me see if there are any questions for you from counsel for the applicants. I'm not hearing any questions.
No questions.
All right. Questions from public staff?
Questions?
Okay. All right. Questions from commissioners for the witness? All right, Mr. Roy, thank you again for coming tonight and for sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate it. And you may step down, sir. All right, Mr. Warren, let's call the next witness.
Hello?
All right, please identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Alex Yandukin. My address is 5413 Swordsman Court.
All right. All
Um,
right.
I
Hold
do.
on one minute, Mr. Yandukin. Let me administer the oath, and then we'll go from there. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, Ms. Culpepper, would you please walk the witness through the identification process?
State your full name
Alex Yandukin,
and your address.
5413 Swordsman Court, Nightdale.
Are you a customer of CWSNC?
Yes.
What service do you receive?
Water and sewer.
And what is your subdivision or service area?
Covington Cross, Nightdale area.
Thank you. Please proceed with your statement.
Okay, I actually misread the docket here. So no rate changes were proposed for this docket. Actually, was my main concern here is that the rates will go up. That was my actually main concern for this hearing. But regarding the merger, I don't actually have much information about it. Apologies for that.
All right, Mr. Yandukin, do you have anything else you'd like to say about your experience with CWS and concerns that you might have regarding this merger? I understand that you're concerned about the potential for rate increases.
Yes.
Anything else you want us to know?
No, it's just this is my main concern because the rates, I've only been living at this address for 2 years, and the prices have went up twice. And yeah, now my bill is like more than electric bill, and it's ridiculous because before I moved here from Raleigh, just 10 miles away, and my water bill just $45 a month, and now it's $140. And my friends across the road, across the Smithfield Road, they have a different water service, and they get to pay $60 a month for water while watering the lawn. You know, and then here I can't even afford to water my lawn. Nobody in my neighborhood actually waters their lawn. They just let it dry out in the winter because it's just unaffordable. There's a $90 just to have the service, just $90 a month just to have the service, and then it's after that your bill ends up being $142 or more. When I was watering my lawn, it was $200 a month. It's just unreasonably. And besides the unreasonable prices, the competence and just processing everything is it's just very incompetent. Like we got a letter about the radioactive material found in our water supply. I mean, that's terrible. It's like, why? How? I've never heard of that. And now we actually get letters about radioactive material in our water. Then we got several letters asking us to verify what kind of plumbing material is going to our house. I mean, to verify it doesn't have, it's not, it's lead, it's not lead piping. It's like, it's your job. Like after meter and towards my house, it's my job to verify plumbing, but from meter and onwards, it's your job. It's like, why are you asking us to do this? I refuse. I'm not going to do this. And their auto pay also just doesn't work. Like I've always struggled just to get it to work. And when I enter my bank information, it still shows up as Washington Mutual instead of Chase. Chase bought Washington Mutual in 2008, like 15 years ago. And nowhere else in my auto pays or anywhere else I dealt with, my bank shows up as Washington Mutual. That's because they should have updated their system since 2008 because that bank went away. It ceased to exist. And it's just dealing with incompetency, extremely high prices, and just on the constant threat of the money, of the costs going up and up. While I'm literally surrounded everywhere else who doesn't have Carolina Water Service, pays just $60 a month or less while watering their lawn and using up water freely. And yeah, this is my main concern. And HOA has been actually looking into connecting to the Nightdale City plumbing, but it takes very expensive. I've been looking into installing wall and septic tank. It's also way too expensive. I'm just really just gonna sell my house and just go to some place that not being serviced by Carolina Water Service to get out of this, because it will only get worse. Like it's more expensive than my electric bill, and it's just it just keeps on going worse and worse. That's just my concern about any merges or rate increases.
All right, Mr. Yandukin, thank you for your testimony. Let me see if there are questions for you from counsel for the applicant.
We have no questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Questions, thanks.
Public staff?
No questions.
All right. Any commissioners have questions for the witness? All right, Mr. Yandukin, thank you again.
Madam Chair, I do have
Go
a
ahead,
question.
Commissioner McKissick.
Yeah, sir, have you contacted Carolina Water Service about any of your concerns previously?
Concerns? Well, just regarding the auto pay, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I've been slow about this. I haven't contacted them. About the other, like radioactive and plumbing, no, I'm just shocked about it, but no, I haven't made any concerns about it. Regarding the pricing, yes, everybody knows about it. Nothing can be done about this. So yeah, the pricing cannot be done anything about it. But yeah, I should probably contact them about the auto pay system being broken. That's on me.
Okay, and one quick follow-up. I mean, the bills that you are experiencing at this time, I mean, are your neighbors experiencing similar or comparable type of bills to your knowledge?
Yes,
So
up to $200 from what I hear.
So you don't believe there's anything unique about a problem you may be having with your meter or anything like that, or a leak or anything like that?
Nope,
okay.
Nothing on my side.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for the witness? All right, Mr. Yandukin, you may step down. Thank you again for coming tonight and sharing your testimony with us. All right, Mr. Warren, would you please call the next witness?
Hello?
All right, would you please identify yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Let me just turn this on. My name is Patrick J. Doherty.
All
I'm
right,
a
Mr.
resident.
Doherty, before you go any farther, do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Culpepper, you may lead the witness through.
Mr. Doherty, please state your address.
92 Warbler Way, Warbler Way, and that's in Hampstead, North Carolina, 28443.
Are you a customer of Carolina Water?
Yes, and have been for the last 30 months.
What service or services do you have?
We have the water and wastewater. We also have irrigation, which because of the cost, I've eliminated that meter.
And what is your subdivision or service area?
So the subdivision is Songbird Landing, and it's in Pender County.
Please proceed with your statement.
So I had some issues with my irrigation, my irrigation meter. I was being charged for it, and I wasn't using anything, and so I had to go through about six or seven phone calls with Carolina Water till we finally got at least made some headway. At any rate, in the process of this, I pulled invoices from Carolina Water Services dating from December of 2020 through June of 2023. And as the witness testified before me, we have seen the price per 1,000 gallons of usage in January in December of 2020 go from $8.27 to $13.02 per 1,000 gallons. So that represents a 57% increase. And the other part of this equation is the sewer bill. The sewer bill went from $4.59 per 1,000 gallons to $14.94. So the sewer bill went up 325% since I'm here, and I'm only here 30 months. Brand new home. I had all my plumbing checked by Odyssey, and they verified that everything was watertight. It's my wife and I, and just like the previous testimony, my water bill is higher than my electric bill. And it just keeps going up. This year, for example, in January, our rate went up in January and again in May. Our rates have gone up a total of 32% just this year. And oh, by the way, the water that is coming into us, I need to have a whole house water filter, a water softener, and it's when I change the filter, I see a brown water in that filter that my filter, thank God, is trapping, but we're just not getting quality water, and the rates just continue to skyrocket. And I'm here with one of my neighbors. He's been here the same amount of time. We've looked at other, just like the previous testimony, we've looked at other water companies, and they are offering water at a much significantly lower rate. So we're concerned that the quality's going down, the price is just skyrocketing, and we just don't know where it's going to end.
Mr. Doherty, is that the extent of your testimony, sir?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you, before I check in with counsel for the parties to see if there are any questions for you, can you tell me what your average water bill is?
So in the one that knocked me off my chair was $207. And that was in the month of May. And it's just my wife and I. So my electric bill is around $130. That's a pretty dramatic difference.
Do you irrigate a lawn or fill a swimming pool or any sort of ancillary use? Okay.
No, as a matter of fact, we had a domestic water meter and an irrigation water meter. We had them remove that irrigation water meter because we couldn't afford to run it anyway, and I was paying $27.30 a month just to have it in the ground. So I had them take it out.
All right, thank you, sir. Let me see if there are questions for you from counsel for the parties.
This is Joanne Sanford, and I do have one question. Have you asked Carolina Water to check your meter?
I have been on the phone with Carolina Water at least 8 times in the last 2 months. And I had Odyssey Plumbing come out to check and make sure everything was watertight. And finally, when the gentleman from Carolina did come out, when I said, look, I can't even think about irrigating, take that meter out because I don't want to pay $27.30. When he pulled that meter, he said, I'm sorry, Mr. Doherty, you've been billed for the last 3 years for the wrong meter. It's your neighbor's meter. They were reversed. And he said, this isn't the first time this has happened in this neighborhood. He said, this is about the 3rd time that I've discovered irrigation meters being reversed.
Mr. Doherty, we will look into this after the hearing tonight, and we'll respond to you and to the commission. Thank you. Thank you. No more questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sanford. Any other questions for the witness from counsel?
No questions.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Okay. All right, Mr. Doherty, you may, thank you for your testimony tonight, and thank you for being with us, and you may step down. All right, Mr. Warren, it looks like there are no additional callers, but would you please confirm that for me?
Yes, there are no more callers.
All right, thank you. All right, then with that, we've come to the end of our hearing tonight. Thank you again to those customers who participated tonight, and thank you to council for being here with us, and members of Carolina Water staff as well as public staff. We appreciate your being here with us. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Madam Chair, if you could just let the record reflect that Commissioner Brown Bland has been trying to get on WebEx since the call began, and she was never able to make a link. I know she's trying still right now.
Okay. All right. The
Thank
record will so reflect. All right. With that, we will adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.